It didn't matter what the spiritual tendency was, or the label was. People of faith gathered. They gathered to help each other. They gathered to praise God. They gathered to work towards a better society. Now, isn't that an interesting example to us? Under one roof, many different peoples pursued the same goal in peace. In peace. And that is a metaphor for where this city needs to go. Because under this roof, there's almost 8.5 million people in this city. Literally from every nation of the globe, every language spoken, every belief structure, every faith. And our job is to make it in one house, under one roof, a place that everyone can reach towards our aspirations together in unity, in peace. It's not an impossibility. It happened in this building for over 100 years. It can happen again in our time, in our city, in every neighborhood, on every block, and that is what we are called to do. We're all feeling, still weeks later, the pain of the tragic loss of Eric Harder. We all feel it humanly. And everyone wants to see fairness. And we believe in due process. That's a fundamental American value. It cuts across all the backgrounds of all the people. We all believe in due process. Fairness, a full investigation, full legal process. We believe everyone should be treated equally in that process. That's what we keep looking for. That's what we need. And it's our job this time to constantly prove over and over there will be one standard. It will be applied fairly. That is what we believe at City Hall. That is our mission. And we believe in the context of such a profoundly important discussion. Of course people will raise their voices, their concerns, their needs. In a democratic society, that's normal, that's necessary. And they'll do it peacefully. And that is how progress is made, because another Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. proved that change is made from the grassroots up, and change is made by nonviolent action. Violence takes us backwards. Nonviolence takes us forward. We have to create a deep and lasting bond between our communities and our police. We have to. It's a matter of life and death. It's fundamental to all of us that we find that partnership and that bond. It's there for us because it happens every day, any given moment in this city. There's a police officer walking the beat. Neighborhood residents know and trust, know by name. And that officer on any given day might save a life, might help someone in need, might rush in to an emergency and get the help that the victim so desperately needs. Well, every second counts. That's happening every day in this city. And every day in this city, there are hardworking families. So many here today, hardworking families teaching their children exactly the right thing. To abide by the law, to treat others properly, but also to deserve respect and dignity. And we talked in Seventh-day Adventist churches last year about what was missing. What was missing was an acknowledgement. The policies of this city failed to acknowledge the hard work and the love that so many families have put into their children, because then those children would go out into the streets abiding by the law and be treated like suspects. And that didn't take us forward. In fact, it was a fundamental disconnect, because the hard-working parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and ministers and all the other people in the life of that young person had over years and years, thousands and thousands of hours of hard work created a young person who was on the right path. It takes all that. It takes a village to put that young person on the right path. And if you happen to be a young man of color in America, we know the burden's higher. And so all that effort, achieving its goal, setting that young man forward, confronted the contradiction of a government policy that sent exactly the wrong message. Now, we always said that there was a right way for a police officer to stop someone and ask questions and frisk, and that's when there was a crime that happened or a specific reason. And that, more and more every day, is what is happening here in New York City. Stops are down by a huge percentage because we're not stopping innocent people anymore. We're not stopping law-abiding people. We're not disproportionately stopping young men who didn't do anything wrong. We're stopping people when there's a reason. And actually, clearly, I wouldn't even need a poll of this room to know that we all want people stopped when there's a reason. When they might be doing something wrong that would harm others. So that balance is what we seek to achieve. It's not mysterious or complicated. Respect the law-abiding. Treat everyone equally, regardless of race, or religion, or neighborhood, or economic status. Treat everyone equally, regardless which country they come from. If they have been here hundreds of years, or if they got here last week, treat them equally. That's what we aspire to. And then, as that progress grows, because it is happening right now, the numbers prove how few people are being stopped, and that when they're stopped, it is for a reason. As that gives us a platform for building faith, for building partnership, for building a bond, so much more can happen, because there are still too many people in our city who face the violence propagated by criminals, who have to worry for their safety. For them, the notion of full participation in society and full democratic rights and civil rights and human rights is undermined by the specter of violence. So our twin mission is to address, combat violence, and end violence of all forms while building respect and a bond between our communities and our police. And we can do that. What you'll hear more and more from the NYPD as it goes through a series of important reforms is the notion that the mission of the NYPD, the mission of each and every police officer, is to protect and respect. Protect and respect. That is how we make a better society. And what you will also hear is that each and every one of us, as citizens, are called to respect our officers in turn, to care for their safety as well, because they protect us. That's the city we have to create. We are taking steps rapidly as we change the stop and frisk policy, because we have an independent oversight by the Inspector General now, because we have a civilian complaint review board that is finally coming to life as an honest broker, respecting any community member who has a grievance, respecting the officers' due process rights as well, and moving to speedily resolve each and every situation. When there's due process, when there's actually a way to have your grievance heard and acted on, people feel they can believe again in the society they're a part of. That's what democracy is supposed to ensure us. And that's what we are building. And Commissioner Bratton, who has done extraordinary things, there's an article in the New York Times today about some of the changes that happened in Los Angeles on his watch, a city that was plagued by a deeply painful divide between police and community. And now a city where, to a great extent, there is unity and communication and partnership between police and community. Commissioner Bratton is so committed to making these changes that literally, in the wake of this tragedy, he has ordered the retraining of every single police officer in New York City. And we all need that in whatever profession we pursue. We need that opportunity to be shown the right path, to be shown the right way to do things, to be shown how crucial it is to build that connection between police and community. It's not a secondary concept. It is foundational to safety that police and community walk hand in hand, and that is what the Commissioner will achieve by giving that message and those lessons and the real-life examples to our police of how to do this in a way that will make us all better at working together. So you'll see a lot in the coming days and weeks. You'll see a lot of changes start to happen. And you'll see that people of faith will be in the forefront of these efforts. Because we believe you can't change a society for the better without engaging and involving communities of faith. I mentioned all that this extraordinary church has done for this city. You know,